everyone. Thank you so much for joining us again today. Today, you can see we have a wonderful gentleman here who is ever smiling. And he's very, very, what do I say, super rich in his content. He's a six-time TEDx speaker. He's a brand ambassador for Rajasthan government. Currently, he's also a CEO of Head Start Network. He runs a entrepreneurship college in Jaipur, which is GCC, and he runs incubation center. I don't know how many thousands of entrepreneurs and startups he has mentored. So, if I say the man needs no introduction, and when you'll hear from him today for next 100 minutes, you will say, "Wow." That's all I can say about it. So, thank you so much, Paresh. Very wonderful to have you, and I'm sure today all the audience would love hearing you. Stage is all yours.
Thank you so much, and that's such a nice and interesting introduction. I'm humbled always to hear all of this, and Sheenu is such a wonderful person. She always gives the right compliments the right way, and that's kudos to her. And she's a wonderful mentor herself. So I know that she's fairly accomplished herself. She's done such amazing work in the startup ecosystem. So yes, she's wonderful. So thank you so much for inviting me. And I can see about 11, 12 participants. So I would recommend, as many of you to say something if you can. Are they allowed to unmute themselves? Can they?
They are, but they don't want. They do sometimes. That's the only trouble.
They what? They do what? I think it's cracking. Sheenu, your voice is cracking. Hello, hello. Sheenu, are you there? I can't hear. It's frozen. We got you back. Hello.
Paresh, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes. Now I can hear you. Yes, please.
There's some network issue, I think.
Okay, okay. No, it's good that am I the only male in this entire conversation? Then
Yes,
I all the
this
I.
is a women entrepreneurship program.
So then I'm lucky. Hi girls, hi ladies. I don't know what should I call you. If you want me to address you even better way, I'm happy to do that. But good, you guys can at least say a good hi. Yaar. So anybody can unmute and say hi. I would be very happy. So
Hi,
Arya,
sir.
hi. Who else?
Myself, Vijeta Rashmi, sir.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, sir. How are you, sir?
All wonderful. Anyone else? Kanika, Shalini, Parvesh Kumari, Ridhima, Vijeta said Simran, Chimbar, Arya, Sharika. Yes.
Yeah, hello sir. I'm Arya.
Hi. What do you do, Arya?
Currently, I'm a freelancing social media manager.
Okay. Wonderful. Okay. That's nice. So you want to start your startup and do business beyond?
Yeah, yeah.
Wonderful. Or who else is there? Anyone else? कोई भी और कुछ बोल दो यार. Yes, Parvesh, your name matches mine. Say something. Okay. Anyone else wants to say something? नहीं तो हम शुरू करें. बताइए. कोई कुछ और हाय बाय बोल दो यार. I would be very happy.
Hello, sir.
Hi, who's this?
Pratibha.
Hi, Pratibha. How are you?
Fine, sir. What about you, sir?
What? I'm good. Yeah. What do you do, Pratibha?
Sir, now currently I am working with Manjari Foundation. It's an NGO,
अरे
and
वाह.
I am based in Jaisalmer location.
Oh, wonderful. क्या बात है. क्या बात है. अच्छा मतलब so all of you are not in Jaipur, is it?
Yes, sir.
Mostly outside, Paresh.
मैं तो नहीं हूँ.
अरे बाप रे. अरे तो then तो I need to know more about you guys. कहाँ से मतलब शबन. Yeah, and so please tell me which all places are you guys from? Arya, want to talk?
I'm from Jaipur only, sir.
Oh, very nice. Aksharika, where are you from? Are you there? या फिर अटेंडेंस लगाने के लिए आए हो? अक्षरिका मिसिंग. अवनी. डॉक्टर प्रीति भोसले.
Sir, this is Shaban from Chennai, Tamil Nadu.
Oh, very nice. Wow, Shaban is from Tamil Nadu, from Chennai. Fantastic. That's
Yes,
nice.
sir. I am working as a manager in healthcare consultancy,
Okay.
doing accreditation services.
Fantastic. Super nice. Awesome.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else? Preeti Bhosle, Kanika, Shalini, Priyanka, MDP, Ridhima. Want to just unmute yourself, say a good hi to me so that I feel more energetic today. Let's make this session a rocking session now. Anyone? Chalo, theek hai. I will try to make it more interesting. But please, guys, talk. Thoda sa, matlab, see, COVID is such a bad time where you are just looking at this laptop and just looking at names and gole ban karke, हमें देखना पड़ता है सुबह से लेकर रात तक बस. This is what we do. And in fact, bad part is that we as speakers cannot turn off our cameras. You guys have the luxury to turn it off, and हम बेचारों को photo भी दिखानी पड़ती है. तो लोग, now I am lucky that 16, 17, 18 females are looking at me for the next 100 hours. So please keep your eyes on me. Pin me properly. And let me try to do some good conversations. Let's talk about business, and I'll share my story a bit here so that you guys get a sense of what I have been doing, how I'm involved. I work with a lot of women entrepreneurs, though. I'm in fact tomorrow again I have a session with 40 women talking about, and it's going to be on national television. So we're going to talk about COVID-based startup, and updates. And I keep doing a lot of work with the Fiki Flow and a lot of other women organizations. So yes, this is and I want to also tell you something very interesting. For everybody in this session, you guys should know that every female in my house is an entrepreneur, except for my daughter who's 9 years. And I'll tell you, she's also an entrepreneur in her way, and she's fantastically entrepreneurial in her thought process. But my wife, she runs a startup called Nani Shala. My mother, she is an astrologer, and she used to run a factory of cloth manufacturing. My mother-in-law runs, another business with kindergarten. My sister-in-law runs an insurance Gurukul company. My sister runs a agri product company called WeGrow. So every female in my house, right from somebody who's 70 years of age to, to 30 years of age, is running a business. So I think, and I feel women should do business. So women should be entrepreneurs, and that's exactly what you guys should think about. And I'm a finance person. I'm a chartered accountant as my early qualification. I'm a graduate from Shri Ram College of Commerce, and then did my MBA from London School of Business and Finance. So I have been, a finance person. So I'm going to talk about numbers and finance and paisa kaise kamate hain. See, business ka purpose is to make money and to become wealthy, right? It is not only about making profits. It's about creating wealth. And let's start with the difference between profit and wealth. Anybody want to answer this? Otherwise, I'll try to answer. But anybody wants to try and answer, what's the difference between profit and wealth? Anyone? Give it a shot. Profit versus wealth. What do you guys think is the difference? Vijeta, want to try? Arya, yes?
Yeah, sir, I can try.
Please.
Wealth is something which is not necessarily to earn. Means you can acquire it or you can get it in gift also.
Okay.
But in profit, which is earned by some actions or some process involved into it.
Interesting observation, and I like this answer. I never thought this will be the case, and this will be one of the answers. But yes, very well thought of. Very interesting thought for sure. In finance, we have a little different thought process, but it's a very good answer. I definitely like the answer. Okay, so let me try and explain
Hello,
that. Yeah.
Sorry, sir, you called my name, but I was not audible, sir. Sorry.
No. So I was just asking, how do you differentiate wealth versus profit?
So exactly, wealth is a long-term process and profit is a short-term. This is
Interesting. Profit can be long term as well, but yes. So wealth is a stock concept. It is there. It is your khajana. It's the coffer. It's the treasure that you have, right? And
yes, sir.
one way of looking at it. And profit is the flow. That this is the profit I made during a period. This is the thing that you made during a period. Please also understand that profit can be notional in terms of that you may be, so I'll give you two things, okay? You may have profits in your business by accounting standards, but you may still not be wealthy, because what can happen is that profit may not come in cash to you. People may not pay up. And accounting is done on accrual basis. It is like on receivable basis, you account for it. In your accounting books, you are profitable, but in reality, you may not have profits. Cash may not come from the customers. So there is a problem, right? I'll give you more examples. Look at Flipkart. The founders, Flipkart has still not made any profit so far. Every year it produces a loss. But the founders became wealthy. They became rich, not because of the profits earned by the business, but by the valuation business, right? So you can be wealthy without earning profits. And that is what finance is all about. That is what numbers are. That's exactly what I'm here for, to explain how to become wealthy even when you don't have profits. You can actually make money like that. And that's what is the purpose of business. Purpose of business is not profit maximization. Purpose of business is wealth maximization and wealth for the founders. So if you want to be rich in life, you have to do business, number one. Look at any rich person on earth, anybody on earth who's rich. Who are they? They are only and only and only and only entrepreneurs. They are not employees. They do not do a job. They will never do a job. They are very, very sure that they will do a business, and business makes you wealthy. Business is the way to become rich. You cannot become rich just by doing it. You can just be average, right? You can be just a good, decently well-earning person. Look at, we talk so much about Sundar Pichai, and we feel so proud about Sundar Pichai, CEO of Google, saying, oh, Sundar Pichai, Sundar Pichai, Sundar Pichai. Look at Sundar Pichai wealth. He does not stand in the Forbes 500 list at all. He's not one of the 500 richest people. And look at Jeff Bezos. He's the man who is the founder, of Apple. So that's the person who makes money. That's exactly where the money is. So you have to start thinking about, sorry, Jeff Bezos, sorry, Google founder. So I'm so sorry. And so imagine that the founder is wealthy. CEO is just an employee. He gets a salary around. So you have to start thinking that if you're a founder, you can make money. I have a small presentation. I've got a couple of presentations to share here. And please do talk to me whenever you have any thoughts, any questions. I'm just gonna, share some thoughts here. Let me see if I can. Can you guys see my screen now? See?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yeah, perfect. Oh my God. I don't know why I'm not able to. Something is wrong. 1 second. Share window. Yeah. Can you guys see this now?
No, sir.
Can you not see the startup funding valuation?
No,
slide?
we were seeing it earlier, now not. It's coming Teams window now.
Oh, Baba. I do screen. Now.
Share desktop.
Is it done now?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I don't know why I'm not able to make a presentation also, but anyway, this is good enough. So I'll just browse through this on this panel only.
Sure.
Okay. So let's talk about one very interesting thing. How many have seen Harry Potter? A very, very popular movie. What's the difference between, or what is common between Harry Potter and startups? Anybody? Anybody wants to tell me what's common between startup and Harry Potter? Any thoughts? Any ideas? Let me try and share this with you. So some very interesting things. Okay. Has everybody seen Harry Potter? At least know Harry Potter, right?
Can I say something? It was an innovative concept actually.
Okay.
Nobody has tried to make movie the J.K. Rowling, the kind of thoughts she had. That was pure imagination basically.
All right. Interesting. So yes, innovation is one of the things that brings Harry Potter and startups together. Absolutely wonderful. Great thought. Anyone else? Okay. So I'll share something. Unicorns and dragons. Right? And we had unicorns and dragons in Harry Potter. Do you guys think we have unicorns and dragons in startups also? Can somebody tell me what's a unicorn in the startup world? There is a unicorn. So unicorn, and you guys should know what is happening in the country right now. This is the news of the nation. So this is exactly what's happening right now. Unicorns are being produced. What is a unicorn? Anyone? Okay. So the answer is, you can Google it out. I mean, so if you don't know, you can always Google it out. Any startup whose valuation goes above $1 billion, right? Which is to say that if you go above $1 billion of valuation, you are called a unicorn, right? And India has produced the maximum number of unicorns in 2021. In 4 months, we have produced 10 unicorns, which is unheard of. This is the maximum number of unicorns ever produced in the country. And that is what the money game is right now. Surprisingly, imagine we are going through COVID, we are going through problems. And in this problem situation, we are producing maximum number of unicorns. And I feel so proud to share that 2 of them are from Jaipur. In fact, 3 of them are from Rajasthan. So Grow is from Rajasthan, Razorpay is from Rajasthan, Car Dekho is from Rajasthan, right? 3 Rajasthan startups are there in the top 10 list this time. Fantastic work by Rajasthan. And I think that's so amazing that, we are producing. And I'll give you one more thing. I feel so proud about, being in Rajasthan, because all the top startups of the nation, all of them, almost all, Flipkart, Ola, Freechat, you name them, there is something very, very common about the founders about all of these. All of these guys are Marwadis, Agarwals, from Rajasthan roots. And they actually are, they're all IITians also. Imagine, but this is what exactly a unicorn is. How do you become a unicorn? Do you really want to become and get money? You want to really become and look at this dream. This may not happen today. It may not happen tomorrow. But can it happen 8 years from today, 10 years from today, 12 years from today? Let's give it a shot. Let's start somewhere. And I think that's what a unicorn is. Dragon, on the other hand, is bigger than unicorn. So Dragon is the one who actually raises more than $1 billion in one go. So iska valuation would be something like $3 billion, $5 billion, but they are raising $1 billion in one go, cash raised from investors. And they are called dragons. Very few dragons in the country, but I think we have just 1 or 2 dragons, but most of them, we have got fantastic unicorns now. We've crossed more than 30 unicorns. And that's exactly where we stand today. So fantastic work happening in the country. What happens in financial world? Let's try to think about the finance, and let's try to understand, if you were to form a company, I'll give you one more thing. If you're doing a startup, right? What makes a startup different from a normal business? Just let's talk about this. What do you think is different in a startup world versus a normal business? What do you think it is? Yes, people? Anyone? Startup versus business. Yes, Arya.
Startup is always there for some problem solution.
Yes.
It is always with some innovation. And
Okay.
for other common business, it is not necessarily associated with that.
Okay. Okay.
That's
All right. I think, yes, you're fine. And let me try and put it, more structured form, but good answer. So I love the answer. Anyone else wants to try? Come on, ladies, females, girls. Yeah. Anyone else?
Well, in startup, yeah,
Yeah.
somebody want. Okay. Usually in startup, you do not have very much, financial backup. You have to look for people who can finance you, who can support you. So
Okay.
money is a crunch.
Okay. And in business, there is no crunch.
It's already into, it's already in function.
No,
Okay,
if it
it
is
is
not
already
in function.
function.
If it is not in function, can I not
Okay.
set up a new business? Or do I, whenever I set up a new business, it's called a startup?
There is a lot of confusion as far as enterprise, business. There is a lot of confusion. Though,
That is
Dr.
years.
Sheenu and there was another resource faculty who tried to solve the issue,
Mhm.
but I'm still confused because
Okay.
people do use these terms interchangeably.
Right.
So when there
Which
were
is-
already businesses, then why was there a need of entrepreneurs or entrepreneurship? When
Okay.
there were businesses in the country, in the world, Why
Yes.
was there a need of entrepreneurs? So
Okay.
this is a very basic question which keeps hammering me.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Anyone else? Somebody else was trying. Pratibha, I think you were trying, or somebody else was trying.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I think a startup can be started by very small money, a small amount of money, and
Okay.
business is the next step of startup. Mean after some time when startup will start, then when they it will spend lots of time and it will gain lots of things, then it become business, is my understanding, sir.
Okay. Okay. So I would try and dispel this, and I think the kudos goes to Indian government for screwing this up, because I feel that they have confused the world. They've confused the entire country by defining startup in such a weird way that this actually changed the whole meaning of startups. And in India, that's exactly the reason why the confusion exists. That people have come out with a definition. The Indian government has a very different, weird definition that, if you are less than 7 years of age and you have X number of if your turnover is less than X crores, you are a startup, right? And you should have some element of innovation. That is definitely not the way you look at startups in the Silicon Valley. That's not the way startups are defined in the world. And startups are very different. So you can start, say for example, tomorrow I start a Bagru print, factory in Bagru industrial area in Jaipur. Am I doing a startup? I am not doing a startup, because the business is already defined. Somebody else is already doing it. It is so clear. It is so well known to everybody that we know what is a startup there. And so this is not a startup. It is a standard business where things are already known. Startup, the only word which I'll give you for this, remembering all this, is disruption. Todfod. It should change the way people live. It should change the way people, do things. It should change the way people or you do business. If you're changing, if you're bringing a disruption, then you're called a startup. And if you're not disrupting anything, you're not a startup, you're just a business. You can start a shop tomorrow. It is a business. It is not a startup. But if you start the shop in a very different way, then you are a startup, right? If you're disrupting the way shopping happens. So for example, if Flipkart changed the way we live, that's why it's called a startup, right? Otherwise, it's just an online store. So there's a big difference between saying, does it change the way people live or does it not? Uber changed the way we live. Ola changed the way we live. All of these companies change the way we live, and our Swiggy changed the way we live. That's what is disruption. So unless you're trying to create disruption in the world, you are not a startup. You can be small, big, large, does not matter, which is not the way to look at it. Now, to bring disruption, you need to do a lot of things, right? You need to change the way we do things. So entrepreneurship and business. So number one, let me answer this part. Entrepreneurship and business is interchangeable. You can use them, interchangeably. Anybody who is an entrepreneur would do business, right? So entrepreneurship is to be independent and trying to do something as a business activity is an entrepreneur. But startup is a separate style of business. So startup is a subset of business, so to say, which is trying to be disruptive. It is trying to be completely different from the rest. It is trying to do something innovative. And to do all of this, now you need to do a lot of things. So like start thinking. If you want to be a disruptor, then you need to probably stop thinking of being a single person company, like a sole proprietor. You may not want to be a sole proprietor. You may now want to be with somebody. So more the merrier. Collaborate rather than compete. Change. Thought process is completely changed. Our entire education system in India talks about competition, competition, competition. In the startup world, we talk about collaboration, collaboration, collaboration. Completely different thought process. We say, don't compete. Let's collaborate. Let's join hands and let's do something together. So you'll find startups with 2 co-founders, 3 co-founders, 2 people together, 3 people together. And that's the fun part of the entire story. And so it's so interesting. So start thinking that startups you can actually do this. Okay. Technology again plays a very big role, because only through technology you can disrupt. So you will see AR, VR, AI, ML, all of these being talked about because technology can change the way things happen. So Flipkart, Ola, Freecharge, Snapdeal, all of them really brought about a technological revolution in our country. And while all of that happened, I definitely think that is where you have to do it. Money, again, if you have to do traditional business, you will say, Mera paisa, my money. I'll use my own money. I will use it and I try to spend it to grow it. Then you want to do a startup, you want to disrupt. And if you want to disrupt, you need a lot more money than you can ever imagine. And you want to do things very fast. And you want to go and change the world very, very fast. So you look at other people's money. You give away your stake. You say, take my stake, but give me money. Flipkart founders, Sachin Bansal, Binny Bansal, you'll be surprised to know, started with 4 lakh rupees capital. And by the time they sold it off to Walmart, their share in the company was not more than 3%. Right? So what they have now is only 3% in the company. They were the founders. They had 100%. They kept on selling it off, giving it off. And they actually came down to this small level. So the differentiation between startup versus business or entrepreneurship is the word called disruption. If you bring about a disruption, you are a startup. If you're not doing a disruption, you're not a startup. After a point, the disruption is over. So you have done it. It becomes a standard. It becomes a norm. And then you become a business. So then definitely at some point, the startup will become a business. So long term, yes, all startups, but Flipkart is still called a startup, isn't it? It has been 12 years now. We're still calling it a startup. So 7 years ka definition, revenue ka definition, the Indian government definition is over long back, but we still call it a startup because it is disrupting, right? And I think that's what we have to start thinking about. Anyway, I was asked to talk about what is the right format for business and how you should start a business. If at all you have to start a business, what is the right structure of business? What's the difference between variety of, structures that you can have? By law, you can do a sole proprietorship, partnership, limited liability partnership, and a private limited company and a public limited company. And you can also do a Section 8 company, which is a non-profit organization. So you can do all of these options. Now, for a startup, the only option is to do a private limited company, right? So I'll be very, very crude about my words, but I would say, please do not think about all other forms. Forget all of them. Sole proprietorship, absolute bad idea. Partnership, bad idea. LLP, bad idea. Public company, not possible. Section 8 company, you can, right? So Section 8 company, if you want to do a non-profit, you can try doing that. But all other formats have a problem. Sole proprietorship is a single person business. If you want to do a startup, you can never do it alone. Startup needs a team and you need to do it with people together. So you need to have at least 2 people. Sole proprietorship is out, right? Forget sole proprietorship. When you do partnership has unlimited liability, where both people are liable for the entire actions and your personal assets can be attached. So you don't want to do that. When you're trying to do something so risky, you don't want to risk yourself. You do not want to risk yourself and say, oh, let's do a partnership. And if things go wrong, your personal assets, your house will be gone, your car will be gone, your personal assets will be gone to all of these creditors, dead. So you would never want to do a partnership. Limited liability partnership has a problem because you cannot have more investors. You do not have shares in it. So if you do not have shares in it, limited liability partnership is not a great idea. And external investors cannot come in. So if you want external investors to come in, you would want to go with a private limited company only, right? This is the thought process. Any questions so far? So that, is it clear now? Am I able to make sense? Vandana and Arya and others, Avni and whoever were, Pratibha, am I making sense now?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Whatever you
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
yes, it matches a lot with my initial understanding of entrepreneurship.
Wonderful.
Though I would have not come across this word disruption, but yes, whatever you said, that matches a lot with my initial, whatever I learned when I initially learned about entrepreneurship. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Anyone else has any comments? Anyone else? Shaban, Simran, Vijeta, Wangler Chimber. I love this name actually. Shalini, Kanika, you have not spoken a word. Avni and Aksharika, I have definitely not heard your voices, so I would love to hear more. Anyway, let's move on and let's try to understand numbers here and how a company is formed. So let's say there are 2 guys, Ram and Sham, and they decide to form a company and they put in some money together. Now at this stage, what this stage is called bootstrapping. So they want to do business, they decide to start something, they come together and they join hands and they say, okay, I'll put 1 lakh, you put 1 lakh, both of us start a business. And that business at this stage is called bootstrap stage. You have no money, you just put in your own savings, you decide to go together and you say, collaborate karte hai, let's do something together and let's create something interesting now. Okay. Now these guys would start doing something disruptive. And let's try to see how the company capital will look like. So capital structure, Ram got 50%, Sham got 50%. It is just numbers. So if the total is 80 lakhs, then 40 lakh contributed by Ram, 40 lakh contributed by Sham. So whatever. So it could be anything. It could be 1 lakh, 1 lakh, 50,000, 50,000, 10,000, 10,000. But it's a 50-50 share right now, and that's exactly where it stands. Now they started the business and they started burning money. The money started going on. So they hired a few people, they started paying rent, they started paying electricity bills, they started investing, they created a technology product, they hired a few people around, they did all of those expenses, and this money got exhausted, right? And once this money gets exhausted, then they are worrying how to run the business further. And then they will start getting worried and they'll start panicking. And what they will now look for is this guy, this black man, who's called the angel, right? He comes like an angel and he'll say, I will be your angel investor. And in fact, before the angel investors, in fact, this is 3 Fs. 3 Fs are basically friends, families, and fools, right? So these are the guys who are called 3 Fs, friends, families, and fools, who actually come and you'll go and beg your parents, Papa, kuch de do, Mama, can you help? Uncle, Chacha, Chachi, some friends, you say, can you, bro, give me like another, 10,000, 20,000 rupees, 1 lakh rupees. I need help. I want to run my business. And these are these guys who come up as 3 Fs of the business. Now, what happens? Do you really give them 50% share? So let's say, for example, 1 lakh is what was contributed initially. Now, third person comes in and pays 1 lakh rupees. Would you want to give this person an equal share? Yes, no, maybe. What is your opinion? What would you want to do?
No, sir.
Why not?
Because idea is ours. Wonderful. And we are more functional into that. This person is only giving 1 lakh rupees. So we can't share equal share to this person. Some percentage of equity we can share to this person.
How much? Tough question, is it?
We will start with minimum. 1%, 2%, depends.
Really? And he'll not agree, and then he'll run away. And he'll say, I will not sell for 1%. No, but yes, there are methods of valuations, and we'll try. If you want, I can talk about how do you value your business, and you can say there are multiple ways of valuing a business.
Yeah, on the basis of valuation, that share will be decided, I think.
Absolutely. So you'll decide and you'll value your business and say, oh, this, 1 lakh rupees which Ram and Sham contributed, and they ran the business for 6 months. Now this business is not 2 lakh rupees anymore. This could be 20 lakh rupees, 30 lakh rupees. And it is based on the future potential of the business. We can actually value this business. Imagine this Chai Ka Thadi that you see next doors. Do you think it is just 1 lakh rupees, which is the cost of that entire, shed plus the material inside it? Is that shop just worth lakh rupees, 1 lakh rupees or more? It is always more than that. It is way more than that because it has got a great earning potential. And that location, the way to set up that 30, the way he has attracted customers, each customer has a value. And that is exactly what these Ram and Sham guys have earned for themselves. And that is what is going to contribute to the valuation. So, for example, if these guys initially contributed 1 lakh each, and then they raised some money. So with this 2 lakh rupees, they built up some business. And now this business is generating profits of, let's say, 10,000 rupees per month. If it is generating 10,000 rupees per month, annually it is generating 1,20,000 rupees per annum. If it is going to run for 10 years, then it is definitely going to make about 12 lakh rupees in the next 10 years. If it is going to run for infinity, the value of this business is a happy, 15, 20 lakhs. So by just contributing 2 lakh rupees, these guys can create a business worth 15 lakh rupees, 20 lakh rupees. And that's exactly what this guy will be offered now. So this 3 Fs, we will ask him, okay, 20% for 50,000. And there'll be X valuation. So let's say 2,50,000. So it's no longer 2 lakh, it is more than that. And we increase the valuation and his share is now small. His share is 20%. These guys get 40%. It could be anything. So we can always have this kind of a structure where you value the business. You say, I'll give you X percentage, but not equal percentage because we have put in more efforts. So the core founders will retain more. This guy will be given some money. Now, once this happens, now these 3 guys exist. They again burn the money. And then what you would want is an angel to save you because this time you need more money. such small money of 1 lakh, 2 lakh may not suffice. You need way more money to increase and grow your business. You want to now launch a new technology. You want to launch a new product. If you want to launch a new product, now you need to have an angel. And these guys are called angels. So in fact, there is something called, so trust me, investment bankers like us across the globe have this serious problem of, creating words and coining words, very weird words in finance. So whenever you go to any finance class, you'll find amazing words like we have football fields in finance, we have beer hugs in finance, we have bulls in finance, we have bullseye, we have, angels and, seed, and I don't know, whatever words you can imagine, these words exist, in finance. Now, what happens is that once this entire money, seed money is burned, seed money is the money contributed by the founders, then the 3 Fs. And after the 3 Fs, you are again burning money. And now you need an angel who comes with wings and saves you. So he's the person who is going to be your godfather. And he's going to be the most important person, because angel round is the most important round in any startup funding process, right? So that's exactly what you would want. Now this guy may contribute a 5 lakh rupees. And at this point, your valuation will be way more. And you will say, I am not going to give it off so easily. You would probably just give 25% for a 5 lakh rupees contribution. Initially, you were getting 50% for 1 lakh rupees. Now you're giving 25% for a 5 lakh rupees. You can do the valuation. Now valuation could be anything, right? Let's say, for example, this example says valuation quoted is 20 lakhs, 5x of MRP, or, the traction. So this traction of, amount is leading to some X valuation, and we are offering a higher, valuation to this guy. And you can calculate the valuation of the company. You can decide what value to give to the, angel. And you can negotiate. This is a negotiated deal. So it could be 20 lakh, 25 lakh, 30 lakh, 40 lakh, whatever it is. This angel should feel excited about this. You should be able to say, I will give you double your money in 5 years. I'll double your money in 2 years, 3 years. And he'll be definitely excited to do it. It's not only doubling. You're probably looking at 100x sometimes, right? 200x sometimes. And that's exactly the funny part of it. And now let's try to think about, the angel. Okay, so in this example, we are talking about convertible. So this guy is not given an equity, but let's say, for example, you might have another streak here, which is another percentage. And I also explain what are convertible notes in the process. So what happens is that you can actually give him, let's say, 10% more. And if you give him 10% equity, so you could have, split this entire thing 40-40-20, which was owned by Ram, Sham, and this 3F. So one of the Fs. And then you will probably bring this guy. All the 3 guys will contribute equally to give 10%, 20%, 25% to our new angel. This new angel will probably take over and take 25% of the stake from these guys in equal proportion in the ratio of 40-40-20. Now, there are times when you actually issue something called as convertible notes. What are convertible notes? So if you issue a convertible note, you do not give equity upfront. You tell this guy that we will not give you the equity right now. We will give it to you later. And we'll issue a convertible note. Convertible debt is a debt, which is a loan. Here, you're not giving him a share. You're saying him, I'll not give you a share right now. We'll give it to you later. Convert it at your option. So keep this. And in future, after 2 years, you convert your debt into equity. And we'll give you this X percentage that time. And that is also possible in finance, that you may promise it today. You can sign the agreement today, but not give him equity right now. It is absolutely possible. And that's what are called convertible notes. Now, you can go on with this. You can now go to Series A, venture capitalist or PE funds, where you're looking for a much bigger number. You're looking for, a crore, 2 crore, 5 crore kind of a valuation of a number. You're definitely looking for a $1 million minimum. And that's exactly where you would want to go for a Series A, then Series B. Then you keep on, going ahead with this, valuation and structures, and keep on adding up more people. Series A, angels. So angel got 4%. One of the S got 15. Ram and Sham got 31, and this guy gets 19. And that's the way the entire structure comes out when you are growing a startup. And that's exactly what Series A, B, C, D happens. And then you go for an IPO. IPO is the initial public offering, where you go to the stock market, you go to the listing, you are probably at the BSE, NSE exchange, and you are then publicly known as a great business. So I think these are the stages of funding. And that's exactly how funding happens. and you can actually start thinking about starting at the seed now. And I want to go and worry about more at the seeds things. I definitely wanted to cover a couple of things here to explain how a startup starts, what happens. You have a lot of stages to cross. So my answer is all of you are probably at a seed stage right now. You guys are just starting off. Simran has raised her hand. Please tell me, Simran, what's the question?
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, please.
Yeah, that time when you were asking that the angel share should be how much, then I was about to say either we can keep on the incentive basis or the 20%.
Okay. No, so yes, you can actually decide the valuation of the business. You can actually do a full detailed process. It's a full detailed process, and that's why people like us are paid for. That's exactly what we have been doing. We just value businesses, and our valuations help companies and parties to negotiate. So in fact,
Okay.
I'll be happy and honest to share that last month I closed two deals at angel round for two of the startups that I consult. And both of them have raised 2 crores each. One of them is now doing his second round of 3 crores just now. So yeah, I mean, so we do a lot of drills. We have a lot of methods. So there is a asset-based method, relative valuation method, DCF method, VC method. There are multiple ways of doing it. We can get into it, but I think it's too early for you guys to understand that. But yes, most of the times at the angel round, the answer is how much return can you give to the angel in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years time? And is there a potential in the business? How much money do you need? And how much money do you need to invest to take it to the next round? I think that those are the basic parameters of valuations at this stage.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
All right. Anyone has anything else to comment or share here? Anyone wants to say anything? But I'm good. I'm happy with the participation, and I'm excited that you guys are talking to me. Anyone else wants to say anything? Because then I'll move on to the next section of this presentation or today's session, where I want to talk about what all is available. Um, yes, Kanika. Arey Kanika, very nice. I'm hearing you for the first time. Yes.
Hi. So I want to know, like, the evaluation is accredited by some body or by some committee who agrees all these methods of evaluation?
No, not at all. There is no.
Yeah. So if one of the system says, okay, this is the valuation, why should other person agree? Or
it's a negotiation. Also, okay, let's look at it this way. How do you buy vegetables?
I mean, yeah.
How do you buy? Tell me. 1 kg mangoes, 70 rupees kg. Why? Who values it? You go to Sabji Mandi, you'll get it at 50. You go to another city, you'll get it at 100. Who defines it? There is no definition. So there are.
But
so
yes, some regulatory body has to be there.
Why? Okay, so there is a regulatory body.
Why not? I mean, why not? Why it's not needed.
Okay, so there are some regulatory bodies, and I'll tell you how it is done. So I'll tell you the regulations, but the regulations are very loose because it's a negotiation between two parties, isn't it? It is just between you want to take something, I want to sell something, you want to buy something. It's as simple as this. It's an open market. So why should I actually have regulation deciding everything for me? Regulations cannot see stock prices. Today, a Reliance share is X price. Who decides the price? Is it governed by a regulatory body? No, SEBI controls it. But SEBI cannot decide the price. SEBI can't say you have to have the price at this share. So share price goes up and down. Stock market is also out of the control of SEBI. SEBI can only define parameters. So that means, yes, SEBI has entire startup structure where it mentions that these are the right methods. When you go for tax exemption, so how SEBI regulates it and how tax authorities regulate it is that there are certain tax regulations which, to get those tax regulations, you need to get it verified by a chartered accountant, right? So it has to be stamped and signed by a chartered accountant who should say, yes, this method of valuation is fine. There are specific valuers also. So in fact, there are merchant bankers and there are valuation companies who can give a certification to say, okay, this is valued at this. But that is also recommendatory and not mandatory. You may not follow it. There is no compulsion to follow that. So yeah, I mean, so answer is so simple that at the moment or probably anywhere in the world, this is a free market. It is an absolutely free market where you want to sell something, I want to buy something, we do the deal. That's about it. It's a pure play negotiation. And that's exactly where the thing is that, see, I'll tell you something very, very interesting here. Okay. When the startup culture was, initiating in the country, And there are certain startups which are so that time VCs used to throw a lot of attitude, and angels used to throw a lot of attitude. I'm an angel investor, I'm a VC investor, and they would actually not treat startups the right way. They would actually treat startups very differently. And today the scenario is so different that today startups are getting funded so easily, and there are so many angels that angels are running after startups, and they're saying, oh, can I get something, and angels are trying to find startups. And there are so many places like that where angels are trying to negotiate and asking the startups to come on board, and startups are throwing attitude. There was a time when angels were throwing attitudes and startups were not. And so this equation keeps changing, and it's a free market. So yeah, that's my answer to this question. Yeah, is it fair now, Kanika?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else wants to make any other comment? Yes, Vandana. And Wrangler. Yes. Oh, I am so happy to hear from you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, I'm from Manipur, and I would like to ask, how do you decide the value of your business?
Okay. So I can very briefly give you an idea, because it's a very
Yeah,
long
give some
exercise.
whole idea.
But there are three methods. Okay, three broad methods of valuing a startup. One is asset-based method. Second is the the growth-based, cash flow-based method. And number three is relative valuation. Let's talk about all the three. So let me try and explain all the three, through a very simple method. Let's say any business which is very asset-heavy, right? Let's say a construction company, an infrastructure company, a power company, which has got heavy assets, would always want to value it on asset basis. So let's say, for example, if I have 20 cars and I'm a car business, then I would say, oh, my cars are valued this much. So look at DLF properties in Delhi, right? So Delhi DLF has so many properties. Those Bata, right? Bata has stores across the globe in the most prime locations. So their revenues and everything else is not material. But that value of that Bata store in prime location defines the value of a Bata company, right? So Bata is one of those classic examples of asset-based valuations. A DLF could be one of those, an L&T would be one of those. Any big infrastructure company, power sector companies would be typical examples of this. Let's talk about DCF-based, cash flow-based companies. So for example, you can talk about most of the companies which are standard generic, cash flow generating businesses would look at a DCF. DCF means that my company is going to earn, let's say, 10 lakh rupees per annum as profits or cash flows. And it is going to continue this for the next 10 years. And if that is going to happen, then I have got 10 lakh for 10 years. It is probably equal to 1 crore. I'll discount it to present value and say the value of this company will be approximately 80 lakhs or 70 lakhs or something like that, because that's the present value of that. So this is called the discounted cash flow method, where you forecast the business potential. You forecast, okay, this company can earn, 10 lakh rupees per annum, 20 lakh rupees per annum. This can go on for another 20 years. If I sum this entire thing, this is the value of this business, bring it down to present value. That's another method. The third method is relative valuation. Relative valuation means that some other company is being valued like this in the sector. And that's exactly how most of the companies are valued today. Flipkart in e-commerce space, by being disruptive in the second round of funding, was valued at 4x. Let's put it this way, that it was valued at 4x of its earnings. So if it's earning or revenue, so 4x of revenue. So if the revenue of Flipkart was, let's say, 1 crore in the second year or first year, and it was valued at 4x. So it was valued at 4 crores, for example. Which means if my company, which is similar, disruptive, e-commerce space, and doing something similar, should also be valued. If my company has done a turnover of 50 lakhs, I should be valued at 2 crores. Relative valuation, comparative. I can do comparisons, and I know the market standards. So a lot of companies are typically, rule of thumb, are valued as 10x of revenue. Very classic startup space. You can follow this as a rule of thumb. 10x of revenue, startup valuation done. So these are called relative valuation methods. So yes, you do all this entire drill. You do asset-based valuation, you do cash flow-based valuation, you do relative valuation, you do PE multiples. I mean, so you do all of this, and then you kind of get a sense of the valuation. Yeah, that's the answer for valuations. Is it answering your question, Bangalore?
To some extent, but I think I will have to go through it again. Thank you.
Yeah, so this is a complex process. I mean, it will take me, I take like about 100-hour, course on just explaining valuations of business, right? So what I've done is super over summarized process. So I have super summarized this entire thing. It is at least a 100-hour process to understand how valuations happen. But broadly, what I can tell you is your revenue potential, your future potential, and investors and finance guys understand this process, that, how much is it worth? And then, you kind of judge this out and figure out the answer. And that's the way we look at it. So yeah, I think, I mean, we can talk offline more and I can explain this in more details if required. But yeah, for the ease of participation, yeah, that's the best idea.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, Vandana, you had some question? You have your hand raised. Vandana, are you there? Hello. Okay. All right. All right. So let me try and move on to the next stage of this conversation. And I have another, so I've been asked to also share with you guys, some bit of what are the policies available. And I'm just running against my battery. So just give me a moment. I'll just put my laptop on charging. 1 second, please.
Now it's okay.
Sorry, yes, please go ahead.
Yes. My question is, can a sole proprietorship be converted into a private limited company?
So answer is yes, you can. Legally, it is allowed. You need one more person to join in, because to have a company, you need to have at least 2 people. One person company definitely allowed. One person also can be done. One person company is allowed in the law now, but hardly you have it. So private limited company, typical private limited company, you need to have one more person. Conversion process is slightly complex. So most people would start a new company rather than converting, but you can. And in fact, you can always transfer all your contracts and other arrangements and agreements and everything into this new company. And I do this a lot of times. So in fact, I'll tell you, at the idea stage, you are technically either a partnership or a sole proprietorship. But as soon as you start earning money, as soon as you start dealing with third parties, you should convert it into a private limited company. So, so that's the stage when you should. So, moment money starts coming in, the moment money flow happens, till the time idea is happening, treat it like sole proprietorship. I have no problem. Treat it like partnership. I have no problems. But the moment money gets involved, the moment expenditures start happening or money starts coming into your business, immediately go for a private limited company and do not risk your personal assets to business.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Any other questions? Anyone? Alrighty. So let me try and look at something more. And I'm going to leave you guys with also something very interesting. I'll leave you guys with a startup kit at the end of this session. Let me show something more here. And it's a very small presentation, but government has some interesting stuff happening. And what is happening during COVID period is very, very interesting. I will tell you how startups can raise money. What are the ways things are going on right now? There are multiple opportunities with all of you guys to start thinking about it. Classically, if you are in the agri space or, if you are, so if you are in the development phase, there is a lot of money being offered, and there's a lot of things happening. I would definitely want you guys to check out the Startup India website. So startupindia.com is a fantastic site to go to. They have amazing things mentioned there. There are even startup ideas there. And I have this classic statement, so I could hear that most of you are not doing a full-fledged business, but you guys are interested. I will tell you, a small thing before I move on to this, small presentation, just a 5-6 slider presentation. Believe me, most people are scared of doing business. Okay. And I find the only reason women do not do good is because of one reason. They're scared. They are more capable than men. They have more abilities to do multitasking. I genuinely feel that females can do multitasking 10,000 times better than men. 10,000 times. But they are cowards. They have to become strong. That's the only thing which I can say, that across the globe. And it's not a problem. It's just that I know they think that what will happen. They're scared all the time. They're always worried that things may go wrong. Let things go wrong. Everybody, I have a request to all 17 of you here who are listening to me, that if at all you want to do something great in life, please let your life go like a wave. Don't let it be a flat line. Please try to enjoy your life. Let things go wrong, because things are anyway going wrong in your life. Are things absolutely okay in your life? They're not right. They're so wrong. Somebody's dying next to you, right? Somebody's unwell, somebody's having this pain, some problem, family problem, financial problem, blah, blah, blah. Everything is anyway a problem in your life. So why are you scared of why are you scared of doing something? Take some risk. Be a risk taker. Don't be risk averse. And I can tell you that all the females who take risks can do fantastic, will do fantastic. And that's my guarantee. They are way more capable than men. They are way more powerful. They are way more intelligent. They are fantastic at multitasking. That's what an entrepreneur needs to be. Entrepreneurship is all about multitasking. Entrepreneurship is all about doing all the things. And we just don't do it. And I'll give you one more thing, that you always think that you need money to start a startup. And I think it's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. You do not need money to do a business, right? You do not need money to start a startup. I started a business, and in fact, I came back from London in about 2012, 2013. And, I thought the same way that probably you might be thinking, put in the money, start a business, do something. I burned 40 lakh rupees in my first business. So 40 lakh rupees burned, we did shit job of it. We screwed up, and we really did bad. The entire business did not go well. I lost that money. And then I sat in my office, in my house. My father had this table and chair. And this table and chair was what, I was sitting on. And I came to my room and said, whatever I'm going to do now will be only this table and chair. So this is the only asset I will have. This will be the only investment I'll make, and I'll make things happen. And believe me, from that date to today, I have 3 national awards. I have been doing so many businesses. I've started I have about 6 to 7 successful businesses running right now. I have a real estate business, I have a mining business, I have an agri business, I have an education business, I have a consulting business. I have all of these businesses running fantastically well. I have been appointed as the brand ambassador. I've just been appointed as the ASSOCHAM chairman for Startup Council. So I have investments and I have stakes in more than 15 companies across the globe. So they are mostly outside India, Singapore, Hong Kong, Philippines, Middle East, and all of these places. All of this happened through this one table and chair. That's all. One table and chair. So I'm sure you guys have more than a table and chair in your house. You can do as good as I did, right? Flipkart started with 4 lakh rupees. Google started in a garage. You name the startup. Oyo Cabs. I know these guys when they were in Bombay, IIT Bombay, in a small dorm. And we used to go out for coffee together. They were kids that time. They had no money. And they could become such a big, Ola Cab. So these guys have become so great by coming out of IIT Bombay college dorms. Everybody started small. They were just like you and me. Do not please be disheartened thinking we can't do it. It's not possible. It's only for others. No, if you guys are here, that's the first step. Please don't take back the step. Please do not go back. And this is a genuine request that please keep fighting. Life is there to fight, and it is so much fun to fight. And that's all that I would probably want to share here before I move on to this presentation. I love sharing this because I know my job is to also motivate people and make them do something wow in life. Life is anyway too complex, super competitive. Everybody's there to kill you anyway. So just make it happen and then do something innovative. Enjoy life, right? Let's start with what Startup India benefits are, and this is one of the most interesting factors of the Startup India policy. It offers, IPR, which is if you do any innovation, if you do anything, any innovative thing, it is fast tracking, it is free, and you actually get 80% rebate in patent fees. So it's only 20% is all that you have to pay to get a patent. And patent is exactly what innovation is all about. So government is saying, do more research, come out with more innovation. And if you do more innovation, there'll be, all of this will be completely completely free. And believe me, what has happened is that a typical patent costs more than 1 to 2 lakhs, which has come down to now 20,000 rupees. So you can actually apply for a patent. That's exactly what government is trying to do. Go to people and I'll tell you one very smart trick here. Okay. There are so many scientists, so many researchers in so many colleges and universities who are sitting with patents and patents and patents, and they're doing nothing with it. Those patents are lying vacant. Those patents are lying just waste, and they have designed so many amazing things. Just meet such researchers. I genuinely feel that you will have 10,000 business ideas coming out of it. So if you see these guys with a great patent, you can ask them, make them your co-founder, and actually apply and take your business forward. Make them the technology partner, make them the knowledge partners, whatever partner you can. Use their innovation, start a business, make friends with such people. Always network, right? Another thing that I want to share here is public procurement. Now, what is public procurement? Government is talking about if you want to supply to the government law is now talking about at least 10% business being taken from startups. So which means that you can actually supply to the government. You can actually take bigger contracts, and those contracts are now supposed to go to startups. So if you're registered with the Startup India website, if you can go, and it's very easy registration. It's a very, very simple registration. Go to the site, you can just register yourself, put down yourself, and Startup India website has multiple investors, multiple mentors, multiple people there whom you can contact, and they will help you. So they will help you out. You can reach out to them. There are multiple startups. All startups are listed there. You can reach out to startups in your same space. Check their website, Google them out, reach out to them on LinkedIn. And I'll also tell you, if you're going the startup way, then 90%, in fact, 100% startups are built through networks. Network. Talk to people. There is nothing about, you should never be shy about talking to people. And you guys are females. I mean, that's another advantage of being a female. I have seen that females can talk more than males, right? I mean, I think genuinely all females can connect informally way better than men. So just connect and, talk to people around and, share things with people. Go around, build your network through LinkedIn, through other social media platforms. Talk to other startups, join startup communities, and don't just be a women-oriented group. Please have men and women, be inclusive. So you'll see what others are doing. No gender diversity, no gender, bias at all. Oh, we'll only talk to females, we'll only talk to males. No, just go around and talk to as many people. Government is talking about requirement exemptions, pilot projects, feedback mechanisms, flexibility. You guys can read through this, but what it typically means is that government is actually saying they are waiving off the norms. So typically government would say, oh, you should have at least a 3-year 3 year of revenue generation, you should have this much of size, you should have done previous projects and all of that. For startups, all of this is waived off, and government is saying you don't have to worry about all that. So this is something, again, you can look at. There's self-certification under labor and environmental laws. So you guys can just look at all of these self-certification and you can just take these exemptions. You can do exits, and there is a liquidation which can be done in 90 days very clearly, and the entire payment process can be 6 months, which in a normal company takes up to 3 years. So exit can be very, very fast, and there's a fund of funds. So this is the point which I wanted to bring here. Government is actually having a lot of money, and you guys should keep reading this news. I'll tell you what all is available. There are 3 things which you guys should know. There are accelerators, incubators, and angel funds. Can somebody tell me what's the difference between an incubator, accelerator, and an angel fund? Anyone? What is an incubator? Can you join an incubator? Are there good incubators? And what do incubators do? What is the way to start off? Because I think that's the classic question. No, kahan se shuru kare? Yes.
Right. When we talk about incubator, because normally a lot of institutions, top-notch institutions have got incubation cell. There are idea where, I don't know where the idea is proposed, and they, they take care of the entire, process later on. The ideation is done, and then funding and how to nurture, hand-holding and taking it, to all the, crossing all the stages. Okay, so this is incubation cell where an idea is proposed and everything is later on and it is converted into a full-fledged startup. Okay, this is what I understand. And the other one was?
Accelerator.
That I do not know.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else? Anyone knows what's an accelerator? What is an accelerator? Okay. So
which adds to the growth, giving a kick, push.
Yes, but how do they function? So there are incubators, there are accelerators, and there are funds. So fund, I think, is simple, understood. Fund is a place where you get money. So angel fund, VC fund, PE fund, but typically, and you'll also have networks. So the 4th word is networks, and these are 4 very important things to start with. I don't know how many of you have joined multiple networks. So if I were to start a startup, the way I would take my journey, if I were to start a startup, literally that table and chair is what I started with. I started with a coaching center, believe me. I started with tutoring people, 5 people in my house on that table and chair, and said, this is exactly how I'm going to start my business. But believe me, the most important thing is network. And there are so many great startup networks today, right? There are so many great networks. There will be a Head Start network in your city for sure. You will have, some other, startup grind network. There'll be Entrepreneurs Cafe as a network. There are so many other networks existing. You will have these networks and communities which will be operating in your area, in your region. And if you don't have one, create one. I did the same. I mean, when I realized I came to Jaipur, I did not find too many great communities. I said, I'll create one. If you don't have it, even better opportunity. So create a community of like-minded people, talk to them and create this network where each of you can work together, collaborate, right? So if you collaborate, you create this network and start talking to each other about where to get funding from, what to do in life, how to take this business forward. You might find another co-founder like you. You might find somebody who is like you to do something. And without collaboration, things will not happen in a startup ecosystem. So this is level 1. Start with a network process. Then comes an incubation center. Now, once you have networked, found out some good people to work with, you have an idea to think about, you go around and thinking, this is my idea, I want to do something like that. You go to an incubation center. There are multiple incubation centers. Atal incubation centers are the most funded in the country. So if at all you happen to go to an incubation center, and if it's an Atal incubation center, it will be a rich incubation center. They'll have a lot of money to spend on you. There are others also. IITs are fantastic incubation centers. IIMs have got fantastic incubation centers. Even otherwise, there are private incubation centers where you can go. They'll give you mentors. They'll give you advice. They'll give you the right set of people to talk to. And you can actually check, is your idea good? So they'll help you to refine your idea. They'll help you to modify your idea, make it better. They will help you to start working on the idea. So that's the push that an incubation center is supposed to do. It's like incubating an egg. So from an egg to a chick. So that's exactly what incubators do. From an idea to making it a full-fledged functioning startup is what an incubation center is supposed to do, from idea to business. What is an accelerator? Accelerator is the one who will actually help you to actually take off and become great in a very fast way. Acceleration, word accelerator, it speeds up the process. So normal business will take 2 years. An accelerator is supposed to do this in 3 months. So you may probably want to then go to an accelerator and try to ask, okay, I have an EdTech accelerator. So Y Combinator, right? Y Combinator is an accelerator. If you happen to join Y Combinator in US, your business will take off like crazy. Razorpay. I have seen Razorpay starting from a very small co-working space in Jaipur. Today, then they went to Y Combinator. After being selected in Y Combinator, they are doing fantastic. Now they are one of the unicorns in the country. This is so huge. And believe me, one of the founders texted me today that he wants to talk to me. So that is exactly how accelerator function. Accelerator is all about taking it at a high speed, going and taking it forward. So accelerator is something like that. It speeds up. And how do they speed up? By connecting you to the right set of people, by right resources, by giving you a very fast marketing spend. So for example, Economic Times has an accelerator, Bennett Coleman. So what they do is they give you a marketing push. They give you 20 lakh rupees of marketing money free of cost. And they say you can advertise on their newspapers and media and platforms and all the platforms. Suddenly imagine if 20 lakh rupees marketing is happening, you will actually take off your business. Suddenly that marketing happens. They might probably get you celebrity endorsements. They might get you some good mentors. They might get you marketing support. They might get you technical support and take it forward. And then there are funds, and there are angel funds and VC funds and PE funds, and there are startup funds. So this fund of funds is what is being proposed, which is 10,000 crore. And 10,000 crore is not a small money. Believe me, people are not able to take it. And there is enough money being given. In fact, there is more money available. If you're doing an agri startup, then there is a 5 lakh and 25 lakh rupees grant, which is possible. There are so many other options available to startups where you can just go to these accelerator programs. These guys are connected to this fund of funds, and they will help you to solicit this money, right? And that's exactly one of the ways to look at the basic funding. 10 lakh, 20 lakh rupees is being offered today very easily. There are in fact stipends available. So government is paying you 30,000 rupees, 40,000 rupees per month just to do a business and just to doing a startup. Female entrepreneurship, Rajasthan alone has a huge fund. In fact, at India level also, I think there was at least a 600, 700 crore fund which was proposed and it exists and it is being offered. You guys have to just use the money. So get the money for yourself. And that's the way to start off with right now. And that's all that I think, I can mention. Yes, Kanika, you had something to share. Sorry, I didn't see this.
Yeah, so actually when sharing the idea or approaching somebody, it can be like non-exclusive. We can go to, of course it is non-exclusive, we can go to as many people as possible. And then what about the confidentiality of it? Do we have to have that,
So there are
to protect the IP of it, and
Sure.
how much to reveal, how much not to reveal?
Sure.
Or shall we always go with the non-disclosure agreement? And what
So
are
my
the
answer is that, okay, let's look at 2-3 things. So you had 2-3 questions here that, is it exclusive or non-exclusive? Answer is, it is always non-exclusive. You should go to as many people. Going to one person will not solve your problem ever, right? So you should approach as many investors. Out of 10, probably 1 may agree and 9 may not agree. So please do not ever restrict yourself to one person in this case. Whenever you're at least raising funds, be open to reaching out to as many people. That's the answer to the first question. Now let's talk about how much to share and how much not to share. Please understand that your idea can never be super unique unless it is a super innovation. If it's an innovation, please apply for a patent, please apply for a license, please apply for any IPR or a trademark or anything or a copyright, whatever it is, and apply for it. Let the law come in. So I'll give you an example. There's a startup here. I won't name it, but it sells products on Amazon. Okay. And it sells, products like cushion covers and, handicrafts and, other nice fancy products. And they've designed all of these products. They are very smart that they copyrighted every single design that they have. So every single cushion cover design, every single, wooden piece item design was copyrighted. And they sell it on Amazon. And then there was another startup which copied them as it is. And they let the startup copy and they let that startup grow. And when this startup reached a significant value, they filed a complaint against them in Amazon and the court. And they said now this startup cannot make sales. And this other startup had at least 5 crore of stock lying in their account, in their storehouse. And they were then stopped by the law to not sell. And that's exactly how IPR will work. So if it's something which is so innovative that you have a design or a license or an innovation or a technology or anything, please go for a license before you start the business. Please do not just launch it without thinking. For an idea, believe me, ideas can be copied anywhere, anytime, and anybody can do it. Even when you're running the business, it will be copied anyway, right? Flipkart was never original. It was never the first e-commerce platform. Ola Cab was never the first, cab sharing business. Google was never the first search engine. Facebook was never the first social media platform. So they were also not original. It's okay to share these ideas because what will people do? They may copy. They will anyway copy tomorrow. Have you not copied? You are supposed to copy. So answer is, from an idea angle, it's a great copy. Be careful to not create immediate competition around you just like that. So yes, build some traction, do some work, do your homework. It is always about execution. So there are 10,000 e-commerce platforms which started after Flipkart. Nobody could survive. Everybody was falling down. They could not sustain themselves. Flipkart did it. There were so many delivery startups. In fact, believe me, hyperlocal delivery was such a craze, 5 years back. Everybody was starting a hyperlocal delivery business. None of them exist today. Swiggy and Zomato killed them completely, right? There were so many taxi aggregators around. They're completely killed. So your idea is not worth anything. Idea will be copied. You can't help it. What you can do is execute it right. So execution stage pay, you are supposed to make it happen. And that's most important. You don't have to really worry about just ensuring, oh, your idea will be copied or blah, blah, blah. You can't control that. Yes, tread with caution when you're starting off early. If people have to copy, they'll copy today, they'll copy tomorrow, they'll copy day after also. Right? So this is something which you can't stop. Can you not copy Flipkart today? Don't you know everything about it? It has been so much recorded, documented, and you can't still do it. If I were to say, make another Facebook, can you do it? Make another Google, can you do it? You'll be saying, no, there is a serious restriction to entry. So create that barrier. There is a barrier to entry which you have to create through something. So you should be so fast, so much better. You should have a special code. You should have a special pattern. You should have some technology, some thought. Nothing else. And believe me, I'll give you one more thought here, that whenever a new person comes to me and say, this is a unique idea, 90% times, I would go and tell this person, 99% of the time, I will say, I've heard it 5 years back. I would know about it, because people like us keep hearing this. If you think you can think original, trust me, people would have already thought about it 5 years back. And those thoughts would have already come to people. So you are living in a world with 700 crore people. People think alike in the world. So everybody is doing the same. And then I would have 90% times, I would have said, oh, I know this idea. I know this idea. I know more than what you think. So yes, that's the true answer to your question. That and now, as far as non-disclosure agreements to be signed, my answer is ideally yes. If you are, if you are talking to some investors, and if you're definitely looking at fundraise proper, so if you're doing an angel round or a proper VCP round, so what you have to stop people from knowing is your financials, your operation strategy, your method of doing things. Your idea can be copied, but your process is your IP. Your finance is yours. You don't have to tell other people that how do you source the products that you get, right? That is special. That is confidential. Please don't share everything. So inner details and finer details, please be mindful. Do not go around and tell how do you do this. The outer thing, everybody knows. So share the outer thing. Do not go down to sharing absolute details of your business without signing a confidentiality agreement. And that should apply to everybody, not only investors, but to your employees also. You should sign a non-compete agreement. You should sign a confidentiality agreement with every employee, every single intern, every single person you work with, because that's important. They should not share out these things. Those are important issues. Have I answered your question, Kanik?
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So yeah, we were there talking about funding here, and there's some really amazing funding options that you guys can think about, and you guys can evaluate, looking at all of these incubation centers, acceleration centers. There is Indian Angel Network, there's Mumbai Angel Network, there's a Lead Angel Network. There are so many angel networks who are willing to fund startups, who are looking. So these are private investors. International funding is also coming in. So many organizations are working, and those are the people. Reach out to them. Don't shy out. Don't stay quiet. What's important is to talk to people and discuss things out. So yeah, that's about it from my side. I would say there is a lot to be done. Money is just there. India is at the brink where money is flowing. People are, there are no other investment opportunities left anyway. So we know that real estate is down, fixed deposits is down, banking is down, all the other investments are down. Only stock markets and startups is the way. So people are going to invest in this only. So if that is the way, there is a lot of money flowing in. You guys have to act smart and get the money, right? So start looking at people who are willing to invest. There's a lot of money flowing in. During COVID period, maximum funding has happened. Believe me, that is the funniest part, that people are saying business is down, business is down, business is down. Believe me, startup is the place where business is up. It is up and running. I have done more deals, and I've got more funding deals done in COVID period than anywhere in the past. This is the peak right now. I'm enjoying it. My business is flourishing right now because we're getting so many businesses right now. So definitely you guys should try to get some money, initial levels or later levels. Please start it out. Happy to help out and happy to answer more questions, happy to answer more thoughts, and take things forward. But yes, I enjoyed talking to all of you guys. I would want to probably rest here because I don't have much more than this. I'm happy to take more questions. Any thoughts, anything that you guys want to ask me? Thank you so much. That's all that I have to say. Thanks. Yes. Any questions? Anyone wants to talk more to me? Want to discuss anything else? That's
point is how accessible you are.
I am fairly accessible.
After listening to your story, it doesn't seem to be so easy. Definitely. Yes. But if everything works well, I would definitely like to.
Actually, very accessible, Vandana ma'am. I'm very down.
Okay. Acha, ma'am, you are there. You are there in the middle. Okay. So I have to catch hold of the middle woman. That's fantastic. Paresh, it was phenomenal. I must say that. lot of information, and the energy that you hold is amazing, superb. Thoroughly enjoyed the session, and definitely the credit goes to Dr. Sheenu for connecting us to you and making you accessible for us. Amazing. I just enjoyed it, and definitely I would like to get in touch with you. Let me see how do things come out, and sure, I'll do that.
So,
Thank you very much.
So the best way to access me is Google me out. Just type my name, Paresh Gupta, and all top 40 results are mine. I can take pride in saying that. So,
SEO लगाया हुआ है.
Acha, I'll tell you one more thing. Okay, I'll tell you one more thing. Very interesting. Okay, out of those 40 results, okay, 40 is there. उसके ऊपर और भी results. I don't even know how many results are there. But out of those 40 results, other than my LinkedIn account, none of them is posted by me. None of them. So I have done nothing, you know. So it is others who have posted my you know, stories and my comments and interviews and things like that. I do not post. My social media personally is zero. I do nothing. I don't even put Facebook post. And
how would you be able to do it with so much of work and so much of operations happening, not only in India but overseas? But it's amazing, really. People should get inspired from you, and I got inspired from you definitely, and would like to understand at this stage and age of my life. Yes, really amazing. Great information. Yeah.
Absolute pleasure.
Okay, Paresh, some quick, small, silly questions.
Sure.
I mean, big things are okay, but now, you know, these people need very small amount of money. You know, what should they do now? How should they concentrate? Where should they look out for that option? Of course, apart from the 3 Fs, and I mean, some tips on how to register their own companies, you know, and what is the cost involved. You know, if you can just touch a small upon it. You know, what is the cost involved? What all they need to do? Can they register it themselves? Or do they really need to go to a chartered accountant and get it done? And, you know, and what is I mean, they can do it in 20, 30,000. What is the maintenance cost for a year? You know, those small questions, if you can answer.
I'll answer this part is fairly simple. So in fact, the cost of forming a company has come down dramatically now. So what used to cost something like 30,000, today, I think a 12, 13,000 is good enough to start a company. And that's the cost that you can incur and start with a small. So, and I would say, please go to a chartered accountant. They know the stuff. It is very easy for them. They'll charge about 2,000-3,000 rupees as fees. So they don't charge too much today. It's a very standard process, very easy process. You can just, you know, you can do it yourself also, but you will have to learn. So the time spent on learning the process will be way more expensive than just paying 2,000 rupees to the chartered accountant as his fees. Everything else is, you know, you can go down and just register the company. The cost that is involved beyond, so let's say I'm just giving a ballpark number of 12 to 15,000. 18,000 is the upper limit. So if you get anything more than 18,000 rupees, reach out to me. I'll get it done. Right. So I'll connect you to some 3 chartered accountants. They'll get it done to you, done for you. The cost of forming a company will depend on the share capital, and share capital can be reduced and increased. So registration fees, and there are a couple of fees, but majority of the cost is basically share capital. And today share capital can be as low as, you know, 1,000 rupees. So you can actually start with a smaller share capital, start with a 10,000 rupees share capital, 20,000 rupees share capital, so that you really don't spend a lot of money. But yes, please pocket out at least 15,000 rupees to start with. You'll need you'll need your Aadhaar card, PAN card, DIN number before you go on to it. You need to apply for a name first. Give 4 name options. So first you give those 4 name options. It goes to the registrar of companies. Then you select those names. You can also do one thing. There is a site called MCA 21. So if you go to the government site, it actually is the master database of all companies existing in the country. So you can go to that master database and search for the names of all the companies that are there in the country. If you do that, then you will know, okay, whichever company you're trying to apply for, if it already exists, government will not give you the license for it. So you should search that master database and recommend 4 names to, you know, to the registrar of companies, and say any of the 4 names in order of priority, you apply. And then once you gave 1, 2, 3, 4, you can actually apply for one of the names. Once the name approval comes, then you can do the application process where you will apply for the company, you will apply for the registration. Once the registration comes, then there's a certificate of incorporation plus an MOA, AOA, which your, you know, chartered accountant will get printed and give to you. So I would say, yes, please hire a professional. Please don't get onto doing it yourself. You will actually spend a lot of time, effort and energy doing this. for a professional, it's a very easy task. It's a very simple, straightforward start. Like for example, this MCA 21 site, you would probably not even know, and somebody like a chartered accountant like me would know it, like, you know, at the tip of my hand. Oh, this is what MCA 21 will look like. This is how the name would look like. I can search for the name, find it out. Register of companies, company data, who all are the directors, what is the shareholding patterns, what are the MOAs, AOAs, standard patterns. All of that is available as templates with them. So yes, that's the answer. You can go to a company secretary also. They can also register. Chartered accountants can also register. Technically, you are also allowed to register. But my recommendation is please don't do that. And the cost will, see, they will charge you only 2,000, 3,000 rupees. The rest is anyway going to registrar of companies. So nothing to worry on much on that part. So yeah, that's what answers the first question, or probably the second question which you had, that, you know, how to register. That's the way to go about it. You should also register. Once you're registered as a company, please go to DIPP site. This is something which you should do yourself. So for this, you don't need a professional. Go to DIPP site, go to Startup India site and register yourself as a startup. It's a self-registration process. You have to just fill in some details. You have to mention who are the founders, what is the detail, what is the website, what is the address, what all is the business turnover, employee strength, blah, blah, blah. They'll ask you for certain information. You fill in that information. In about 3 to 4 days, 5 days, they give you a DIPP certification as a startup. The moment you are a startup, you can actually go down and say, okay, I am a startup now. So please do this process, and DIPP registration you should do by yourself. You don't need any chartered accountant. You don't need any secretary or anybody else to do this. It's a fairly very simple self-doing process. The tax exemption process might be slightly complex, but don't worry about it right now. So that is much later. Only when you have a significant amount of profit that you should worry about the tax exemption registration. At the moment, these are the two things that you should go with. So do for a company registration, go for DIPP registration, and that's the process to go about doing it. All right. As far as fundraising is concerned and where you can go to, money raise, I'll give you examples. Like there are organizations like NIAM, National Institute of Agriculture Management, Agriculture and Marketing, I guess. They are giving 5 lakh rupees and 25 lakh rupees as grant to startups. There are so many grants. Startup Voices is giving grant. IIM Ahmedabad is giving so many grants. IIM Bangalore is giving so many grants. These incubations and accelerator programs are giving a 5 lakh rupees. So when we were a startup, we started with the 25 lakh rupees from IIM Ahmedabad, which came to us, right? So go to these accelerator programs and incubation programs. They will have all the information. In fact, a person like Sheenu should not be asking this question. She should be rather giving a list out and saying these are the current schemes which are going on by the government. I'll give you one more thing.
Very true, very true.
No, I wanted it for the benefit of the audience to make them understand, because I'm not taking
more. That go to Startup India site. I let
now we'll catch hold of Dr. Sheenu.
Yeah, Sheenu is the right go-to person here. I mean, I genuinely feel that Sheenu is the person to reach out to, and let me show this. In fact, so rather than talking in air, let me open the site and then show it to you what all is available. And so I'm just opening one moment, and then I'll show. There are multiple schemes available which you guys can access, and if you go to this site, you will realize this is so much happening. Okay, where is my Zoom? Sorry, here on Microsoft Teams. Let me share my screen again, and yeah, so if you see this now, this is the site. Are you able to see the site? I mean, are you able to see my screen?
Yes,
you can. Okay. So here is the site. Now, if you go here, look at the resources, right? And you'll be surprised. There is learning. There are courses on startups. There is a startup guidebook. There is a COVID-19 resource section. What all is happening in COVID-19? Partnered services, market research reports, patent facilitators, trademarks, business idea. If you don't have a business idea, you can search for business ideas here. Company secretary knowledge for company registration and things like that. Startup India blog, NHRD startup policy by MHRD. If you look at all of this policy will tell you what all exemptions and other things are available. Go to network. You can connect with startups, advertising, aeronautical. So look at the sectors. The sector list is huge on their site. So it's a huge list of industries. See, you can search for all of this. The number of industries that you can see is massive. And you can just go around and see, look at the industries: advertising, aeronautical, agriculture, AI, airport operations, analytics, and you can see there are 145,000 startups now registered in India. So you can connect with all of these people, right? You can just reach out to all of these people, just Google them out, and you can understand, oh, these guys are doing something similar. You can search for them as much as you want. So this is one thing which you can do. You get incubators, as I mentioned, accelerators. So there are 825 incubators, 196 accelerators, mentors, 696 mentors, government, 57 people, investors, 113 investors. Look at these schemes. And if you look at these schemes, there are so many initiatives, women entrepreneurship, special scheme given here. You guys should definitely try to reach out. What all is available here? This is the entire process, the incentive. There's a monthly allowance, as I mentioned, 20,000 rupees per month for a period of 1 year. You have to just apply. Andaman Nicobar, Andhra Pradesh has some, Assam has some, Bihar has some. All of these states have something mentioned. You guys, and believe me, you can apply for other states also, right? So look at this. Kerala is offering 3 lakh rupees here. Just search for your state and you can actually get this money from wherever you want. So this entire website is amazingly built up. State government policies, you can see what all the state governments are doing. You can do regulations, incubation frameworks, Ministry of External Affairs, Ministry of Finance, guidelines, seed schemes. We were talking about India Seed Fund Scheme. This is the guideline. So this entire document will tell you how to apply for the seed money by the government. All of this is absolutely accessible. You have to just fill up the requirements, fill up this form, and you're good to go. So you have to just be eligible. It is mostly routed through incubators. So you should definitely reach out to good incubators. These incubators will help you out to fill up the forms, connect you to the right set of people. But see, selection of startups, you'll have a process. Everything is written down here. The policy is written down here. You can just see what all are the windows going on at a particular point of time, and just start using this particular section here. Let me do more. So in fact, if you check the site further, you will also see yes, look at the programs here. So you can do Partner India. You can actually partner in all of these programs. You can actually be a host and run these programs. So all these programs are currently going on, and you can actually participate in all of these programs. There are challenges. There are incubation programs. There are accelerator programs. There are events, workshops, which you can attend. And there are so many things going on. See, look at all this Techpreneur Summit. There's a GE Foundation, Corporate Innovation Connection Program, Grandwater Savings. There are, all of these schemes right now going on. You guys can just be a part of all of this. So there is so much which I think is there. This should be one of the sites definitely to, compare. There is also an FAQ. So what are the FAQs? Discussion forum, Startup India Kit, newsletters, and what is the way they're looking at. So yes, I would say these are the places to start with, and then reach out to all the other accelerators, incubators to find out what all the schemes right now going on. These schemes keep changing. So I can't really tell you which scheme to apply for right now. Just explore all schemes. If you go here, you will get a whole list of schemes, I've gone through some of this. Why is it showing nothing? There was, here, there are 127 schemes here. So there's a venture capital scheme, international patent protection, Stand Up India, single point contact, extra mutual research funding. You can be researchers, so you can do all of these, programs, and just go through them. Some of them would probably excite you, and you can use all of these schemes. So yes, I hope this answers your questions, Chinu.
Do you also recommend Udyamita?
Yes, it is. It is a good program. I would say there's nothing wrong in it. I have not seen too many people. So I'm personally not connected with it, so I don't know the outcomes of it. But as much as I read, there's no harm in applying for it.
Exactly. And guys, when we talk about DIPP, I think one registration that will also help you, because, now for a lot of government contracts, they're giving opportunity to those people who are registered with DIPP. So it's not a bad idea that, you all go for registration, and this is something which doesn't cost you also much. So thank you. Anyone else has any other questions? I mean, see, it's difficult to get Paresh on board. So, I mean, we should ask him as many questions as we can.
But I am surprised that, how the participants have increased while we are closing the session.
See, I tell you, this is also interesting about this program. This program actually has 56 participants.
Oh, okay.
And they are from all over India, from age group of 21 years to 56 years.
Very nice.
One is, this is a funded program by government, so no fees, so people don't think that it is something which is worth taking. And then this is a 1 month long program. So, and few of them are actually facing COVID as an issue. So, the mixed kind of things are happening.
But I enjoyed my session. I was happy that, we were interactive. Quite a few people spoke to me. We had good discussions and good conversations. But some of them I'm seeing these names now suddenly propping up. And I'm like, where did these, people come in from? They were not there at the beginning.
It happens sometimes. But it was really wonderful hearing you, and, in very crisp and concise way, you explained everything so beautifully. Thank you so much, Paresh.
So much. Thanks a lot. So should we say a bye-bye, or anybody has any other comments? And I can be reached out. So I don't know if you can share my email ID
or
my LinkedIn. The best option is reach out to me on LinkedIn. I take about 48 hours to respond back, but I do. So just give me 2 days time and I would get back to you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sheenu and Paresh. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Paresh, I'll also reach out to you. We are doing an emergency incubation boot camp from 1st to 7th of June.
Very nice.
So we called it emergency incubation, basically. I'll reach out to you.
Fantastic. Chaliye ji.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Also, please do the quiz and feedback for the day, and do the needful. And also today, Radhika will be sharing with you the groups and time slots for the final presentation, which is on 31st. So please book your slots and see if you want to make any changes in the slots, please reach out to her. She's also very much there on the WhatsApp group. So you can write to Radhika for any queries and she'll answer to it. And I hope you are moving ahead in your presentations. Now we have a session on Monday, which is on supply chain. And also there will be a women entrepreneur coming and sharing her story. So there are 2 people on Monday who will be talking about their things. One session on supply chain management. So see you on Monday. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Bye.
Welcome.
Thank you.